The message arrives while the kettle is still warming. No greeting, no preamble, just a rearrangement of people and places delivered like an updated itinerary. He stares at the screen longer than necessary, watching the cursor blink in the empty reply field. Outside, someone is dragging a trash bin across pavement. The scraping stops, starts again, stops. He pours the water anyway. The cup is the one with the chip at the rim, the one that never quite matched the rest. Steam rises and fades. He drinks it black because that's how he's always taken it, and because there's no reason to change that now. The trip had been planned for months. Not dramatically, just the way practical things accumulate between other obligations. Dates circled on a calendar. Costs split and calculated. Extra shifts picked up without mention because that's what you do when there's something larger than routine to prepare for. He liked knowing where the money went. It gave shape to time. Now the shape has changed. He sets the cup down and opens a drawer in the small desk pushed against the wall. Inside is a folder he hasn't touched in weeks. Not because he forgot about it. He never forgets, but because there hadn't been a reason to look until now. The first page is a deposit confirmation. His name, his card. The next is a rental agreement. His signature, then insurance, utilities, a renewal notice he'd handled last month without asking anyone's opinion. He turns each page slowly, not reading so much as cataloging. 18 entries. His name appears on 16 of them. He closes the folder and places it on the table. The apartment feels wider with no one else in it. Quieter, but not in a way that invites rest. He picks up his phone, opens a new message, and types a single line. He doesn't reread it before sending. The response comes almost immediately. A question mark, then another, then a paragraph explaining something he didn't ask about. He turns the phone face down and finishes his coffee. By the time he stands to rinse the cup, he's already decided what happens next. Not out of anger. There's no heat to it, but out of a clarity so sudden it feels like something he's been preparing for without knowing. He dries his hands on a towel that's been hanging too long and walks back to the desk. The first call is to the landlord. The landlord answers on the third ring. His voice carries the tired patience of someone used to calls about broken fixtures and late payments. He asks what he can do. He explains he needs to review the lease terms. Not a problem, the landlord says. He hears keyboard clicks. A pause. The landlord reads back the details he already knows. 2-year term, 1 primary lessee, renewal coming up in 8 weeks. He asks about early termination. The landlord switches to a different tone, the one reserved for complications. 60 days notice. 1 month penalty. He says he'll send the form by end of day. The call lasts 4 minutes. When it ends, the kitchen still smells like coffee. He washes the cup and sets it upside down to dry. The chip catches the light. He makes toast because it's what he makes on Thursdays. 2 slices, lightly browned. No butter. He eats standing at the counter, watching the street through a window that faces a parking lot. A woman in a blue jacket loads groceries into a sedan. A child presses hands against the back window. They pull away. The space sits empty. His phone vibrates. A message from her. 3 lines asking why he isn't answering. He reads it twice, then locks the screen. The toast is gone, and he doesn't remember tasting it. He returns to the desk and opens the folder again, this time reading instead of cataloging. The trip deposit, $700, non-refundable, processed 6 weeks ago while they were still deciding on dates. Below that, a confirmation for the rental car. His license number. His insurance policy attached as a PDF he'd downloaded at midnight because he'd remembered it needed updating. The lease agreement sits beneath it. He scans past the clauses about pets and subletting to the signature line. His name in blue ink. The date from 2 years ago. Below it, a space marked co-signer, optional, that remains blank because he'd said it wasn't necessary. Because he had been sure. Next page, the utility account. Electricity transferred to his name when they moved in because her credit was still recovering from something she'd explained once and he hadn't asked about again. Gas, water, internet, all his. The bills arrive in his email. The payments withdraw from his account on the 15th of every month, automatically, so there's never a question about timing. Car insurance, both vehicles listed, but he's the policyholder. Has been since the beginning because combining policies saved money and made sense. He remembers filling out the forms online one evening after work while she sorted laundry in the next room. She'd called in to ask about coverage limits, and he'd answered without looking up from the screen. Phone plan, family account, 5 lines, his credit check, his card on file. He'd added her mother last year when she'd needed a new phone and couldn't afford the deposit. That line costs $40 a month. He sees it on every statement. He's never mentioned it. Health insurance. The kids are on his policy through work. Open enrollment happens in November, and he always selects the better plan because it's worth the extra premium. Last year there were braces. The year before, an emergency room visit for a sprained wrist. His copay, his deductible, his explanation of benefits forms stacked in a drawer he only opens during tax season. Savings account, joint in name only. He set it up 3 years ago for emergencies. He's made every deposit, $50 twice a month, withdrawn from his paycheck before he sees it. The balance is $4,200. He knows this without looking because he checks it the first Monday of every month, a habit she's called unnecessary more than once. The trip itself, airfare for 4, booked 8 months in advance to get the discount. Hotel reserved with his card because it required a hold and hers kept declining. Rental car, activity passes, travel insurance he'd purchased separately because the website made it seem urgent. Total cost on his spreadsheet, $3,175. He'd calculated it in increments, extra weekend shifts, 1 skipped haircut, coffee made at home instead of purchased. He closes the folder and places both hands flat on the desk. The wood is cool, solid. He spreads his fingers, then contracts them. His phone vibrates again, but he doesn't reach for it. The calendar on the wall shows August. Days crossed out in uneven pen strokes, some sharp, some curved. The trip date sits circled in red marker. Her handwriting, enthusiastic loops, drawn back in January when it still felt far away. Below it, in his smaller print, final payment due. He paid it on Tuesday. 2 days ago, $800 transferred from checking to confirm the reservation. The email receipt arrived at 6:47 p.m. He'd forwarded it to her with a checkmark emoji because she'd asked him to let her know when it was done. The apartment makes a sound, the refrigerator's cycling on. He stands and walks to the window. The parking lot is filled with more cars. He counts 7 sedans, 2 trucks, 1 vehicle with a cracked taillight. He doesn't know why he counts them. He just does. When he sits back down, the folder is still open. He pulls out a pen and begins making a list on the back of an envelope that came with a credit card offer. Not everything, just the things that would change if names changed. The list grows longer than he expects. By the time he reaches the bottom of the page, he's written 14 items. He turns the envelope over and adds 3 more. His phone vibrates a 3rd time. This one is a call. Her name on the screen. It rings 4 times, then stops. A voicemail notification appears. He sets the phone face down and picks up the pen again. At the top of a fresh sheet of paper, he writes, accounts requiring signature. Beneath it, he begins a second list. The second list takes longer. Not because there's more to write, but because each entry requires verification. He opens his laptop and pulls up account logins saved in a browser he hasn't cleared in 3 years. The passwords autofill. Everything unlocks easily. The bank account comes first. Joint checking. Open when they moved in together because it seemed simpler than splitting every purchase. The balance is $2,618. He clicks through to the transaction history. The last deposit was his paycheck, direct transferred every other Friday. The last withdrawal was hers, 4 days ago, for $140 at a store he doesn't recognize. He scrolls back. 2 weeks. A month. 6 months. The pattern holds. His deposits arrive with mechanical regularity. Hers appear occasionally, smaller amounts, irregular timing. He writes down the account number. Below it, he notes, primary account holder. Sole income source, last 90 days. The credit card statement opens in a new tab. Balance, $1,203. He scans the charges. Groceries, his card, his stop on the way home from work. Gas, his car, his commute. Streaming services, his email on file. Medication copay, his insurance covering dependents. There are 3 charges he doesn't recognize from 2 weeks ago, clustered together in the late evening. A restaurant, a rideshare, a convenience store, her weekend away with friends. He'd said it was fine. He'd mint it. He adds the credit card to the list. Next to it, sole authorized user. Payment auto draft from checking. The car title sits in a filing cabinet he has to crouch to access. The metal drawer sticks, then releases with a scrape. Inside are documents arranged by category: medical, financial, legal, vehicle. He pulls the vehicle folder. 2 cars. The first title has his name on the front, hers nowhere. The second lists them both, but his name is printed first, in the field marked primary owner. The loan for that one was paid off last year. He'd made every payment except 2, which she'd covered during a month when he'd been between jobs for 3 weeks. He doesn't add this to the list. He notes it separately, on a margin: 1 vehicle jointly titled, 1 solely owned. The apartment lease is next. He already knows what it says, but he reads it again anyway. His name typed into the tenant field. His signature on 3 separate pages. The security deposit receipt stapled to the back: $1,500, paid via cashier's check drawn from an account that existed before they met. There's a line for additional occupants. It's filled in with her name and the kids' names, in handwriting he recognizes as the landlord's. Below it, in smaller print, additional occupants are not lessees and hold no legal claim to tenancy. He photographs the page with his phone. He doesn't know why yet. He just does. The insurance policies take longer because there are 3: auto, health, renters. He opens each one in separate tabs and reads through declarations pages he usually skips past to get to premium amounts. Auto, policy holder, primary driver, billing contact, all him. Additional drivers listed below. Her name. An effective date from 2 years ago. A claims history showing 1 accident. Her vehicle, no fault assigned. His deductible paid. Health, subscriber, primary insured, billing responsibility, all him. Dependents listed: her, 2 children. Coverage active since his employment began. Premiums deducted pre-tax from his paycheck every month. His employee ID number printed at the top of every explanation of benefits. Renters, sole policyholder. Coverage for personal property and liability. Declarations page lists his name twice. Once as insured, once as contact for claims. There's a field asking about additional residents. He'd written their names there during the application. The agent had explained it didn't add them to the policy, just noted they lived there. He adds all 3 to the list, each with a single notation: sole policyholder. His phone vibrates. A text this time. From his oldest. Just checking in. Hope you're having a good day. Heart emoji. He stares at the message until the screen dims. He doesn't reply. Not yet. The streaming accounts are almost funny. 5 services. His email on every one. His card charged monthly. She'd set up the profiles: her name, the kids' names, her mother's name. He'd gotten the receipts. He opens one and navigates to account settings. Billing information: his account owner, his email, password last reset 6 months ago, by him, when she'd forgotten it. He writes, media accounts, 5. All billing. The phone bill requires a login he has to look up. When he finds it, the account overview loads with a chart showing data usage across 5 lines. His barely registers. Hers sits in the middle. The kids spike on weekends. Her mother's flatlines at the bottom. He clicks through to payment history. Autopay from his checking. Uninterrupted for 3 years. Notation: mobile service. Primary account holder. 5 lines active. There are smaller things. The gym membership he'd added her to last year because couples rates were cheaper. The warehouse club card that gives cash back, issued in his name, with her photo on the companion card. The veterinary account for a dog that died 2 years ago but was never closed because no one remembered to. He writes them all down. By the time he finishes, the page is full. He counts the entries. 23. 23 places where his name authorizes, guarantees, or obligates. He flips back to the first list, the one of things that would change. He compares them side by side. The overlap is almost complete. The apartment has grown darker while he worked. He doesn't turn on a light. He sits in the gray wash of late afternoon and looks at the 2 lists side by side and understands that they're the same list written in different tenses. His phone vibrates. Another call from her. He watches it ring. The voicemail notification appears. He opens a new message. Not to her. To the group chat with all of them. Her, the kids. He types 1 line. 7 words. No punctuation. He reads it 3 times. then sends it before he can reconsider. The message delivers. 3 gray check marks appear, then turn blue. He closes the app and sets the phone on the desk, screen up this time. The reply comes faster than he expects. A wall of text. Questions stacked on top of questions. He reads the first sentence and stops. He knows what the rest will say. He leaves the phone where it is and walks to the kitchen. The cup from this morning is still upside down in the rack, dry now. He writes it and places it back in the cabinet, in the spot where it always goes. Outside, the street lights are starting to come on. He wakes before the alarm. The apartment is still dark. He doesn't check his phone. He showers, dresses, makes coffee in the same cup. The chip at the rim catches his thumb when he lifts it to drink. At 7:45, he calls the bank. The automated system recognizes his voice, pulls up his account, offers options. He presses 0 for a representative. The hold music is instrumental, something vaguely classical. A woman answers. She sounds young. She asks how she can help. He explains he needs to modify account access. Which account? She asks. He gives the joint checking number from memory. She verifies his identity, last 4 of social, date of birth, mother's maiden name. Everything matches. She asks what changes he'd like to make. He says he needs to remove an authorized user. She asks for the name. He provides it. She types. He can hear the keys clicking through the phone. A pause. She asks if he's sure, because this will remove all access privileges including debit card, online banking, and ATM withdrawals. He says he's sure. She processes it while they're still on the call. 30 seconds. A confirmation number appears in his email before she's finished reading it aloud. She asks if there's anything else. He says no. She thanks him for banking with them. The call ends. Total time, 6 minutes. He opens a spreadsheet and marks the bank complete. Below it, 9 more items wait. The credit card company answers faster. A man this time, accent he can't place. Same verification process. Same request. The man asks if there's fraudulent activity he should flag. He says no, just removing an authorized user. The man processes it. Asks if he wants to change the mailing address since the card will be reissued with a new number. He says the address is fine. The man confirms the changes will take effect within 1 business day. Time, for minutes. The insurance company has a different system. Automated menus that loop twice before connecting him to the right department. A woman with a careful voice asks what policy he's calling about. Auto, he says. She pulls it up. He explains he needs to remove a driver from the policy. She asks if the vehicle will still be garaged at the same address. He says no. She asks where the vehicle will be garaged. He says he doesn't know yet. A longer pause this time. She asks if he wants to cancel coverage on that vehicle entirely. He thinks about it. The silence extends. She waits. He says yes. Cancel that vehicle effective immediately. She asks about gap coverage, outstanding loans, liability exposure. He says the vehicle is paid off and he'll handle liability separately. She processes it. His premium drops by $63 a month. She asks if he wants the refund issued or applied to future payments. He says issue it. Time, 11 minutes. The health insurance is more complicated. He can't remove dependents mid-year without a qualifying life event. The representative explains this twice, using slightly different phrasing. He asks what constitutes a qualifying event. She lists them: marriage, divorce, birth, death, loss of coverage. He asks about separation. She says legal separation counts. He asks what documentation is required. She says a separation agreement or filed divorce paperwork. He thanks her and ends the call. He makes a note. Health insurance. Revisit after filing. The phone provider is efficient. A script following voice asks security questions, verifies the account, confirms his authority as primary holder. He says he needs to remove 3 lines from the family plan. The voice asks which lines. He provides the numbers. The voice confirms the lines will be disconnected at the end of the current billing cycle. He asks if they can be disconnected immediately. The voice says yes, but there's no refund for partial months. He says that's fine. The lines disconnect while he's still on the call. The voice offers to help him find a new plan if his needs have changed. He says no. The voice thanks him for being a valued customer since 2019. Time, 7 minutes. He eats an apple standing at the counter. He doesn't taste it. He drinks a glass of water. The apartment is quiet in a way that feels permanent now, not temporary. He He notices the light coming through the window hits the floor at a different angle than he remembers. He's never paid attention to it before. The streaming services take no time at all. Password changes, profile deletions, billing updates. Some don't even require phone calls, just logins and button clicks. Remove user. Confirm removal. Changes saved. He works through all 5 in under 20 minutes. The gym membership requires an in-person cancellation according to the website, but when he calls, they override it. The person on the phone sounds bored. She asks if he wants to freeze the account instead. He says no. She processes the cancellation without additional questions. The lease termination form arrives in his email at 10:17 a.m. He opens it. 3 pages. Fields for current address, move-out date, forwarding address, reason for termination. He fills in everything except the forwarding address. In the reason field, he types personal circumstances. He signs it digitally, the cursor leaving his name in a font that looks nothing like his handwriting. He sends it back. The reply is automatic. Your submission has been received. You will be contacted within 2 business days. His phone has been vibrating intermittently all morning. He's watched the screen light up and dim, light up and dim. Texts, calls, voicemails. He hasn't opened any of them. The number next to the message app climbs, 12, then 15, then 18. He makes lunch, a sandwich with the last of the bread. He eats it standing in the same spot where he ate the apple. Through the window, he watches a delivery truck double park. The driver jogs to a building entrance with a stack of boxes. Someone props the door open for him. He makes 3 trips. The truck pulls away. The apartment feels different now. Wider, like he noticed yesterday, but also emptier in places that weren't empty before. He walks through the rooms looking for what changed. Nothing is missing. Nothing has moved. But the space has reconfigured itself around the silence. He returns to the desk and opens the lease form one more time. The move-out date is 62 days away. He'd picked the earliest possible day after the mandatory notice period. He calculates 2 months, 1 week. The last payment will auto-draft before he leaves. After that, nothing. He prints a copy of the form for his records. The printer jams halfway through. He clears it, reprints. The pages come out warm. He stacks them neatly and slides them into a folder labeled Current, Urgent. His phone lights up again. This time it keeps ringing. He watches it. 6 rings. 7. It stops. Voicemail notification. He turns the phone face down. Outside, the light is starting to shift toward afternoon. He has nothing scheduled for the rest of the day. No calls left to make. No forms left to fill. He sits at the desk and looks at his spreadsheet. Every line is marked complete except health insurance. He adds a new column. Date finalized. He fills it in for each row. Today's date, repeated down the page. At the bottom, he adds one more line. Storage unit. Locate and rent. He saves the document. Closes the laptop. The apartment is so quiet he can hear the refrigerator humming in the next room. The first message from his oldest arrives at 2:14 p.m. Just 2 words. Dad, what? He reads it, sets the phone down, opens the hallway closet, and pulls out a stack of collapsed boxes left over from the last move. 4 of them. He needs more. The second message comes while he's checking the recycling bin in the basement. His youngest this time. Can you please call Mom? She's really upset. He flattens 3 more boxes he finds near the dumpster. They smell like cardboard and something vaguely chemical. He carries them upstairs and leans them against the wall near the door. By 3 o'clock, there are 7 messages. He reads them in order. Standing in the kitchen with a glass of water, he forgets to drink. What is going on? Why aren't you answering? This isn't funny. Dad, please, call me back. I don't understand what you're doing. Mom is crying. He opens the cabinets and begins sorting. His coffee mug. His travel thermos. 3 plates that came from his mother's house. 1 bowl with a blue rim he'd bought before they met. Everything else stays. The mixing bowls, the matching dishware, the appliance he's never learned the name of, they remain on the shelves. He fills the first box with kitchen items that are definitively his. It's less than he expected. 1 box, half full. The calls start at 3:47. Her number on the screen. He watches it ring through. The voicemail comes immediately. He plays it on speaker while packing books. Her voice is tight, controlled in a way that means it won't stay controlled. I don't know what you think you're doing, but you need to call me right now. The kids are confused and scared and you're not answering anyone, and this is a pause. Background noise swells. An announcement over a speaker system, words blurred by distance. Completely unfair. We're at the airport. We're supposed to be excited and you're ruining. The message cuts off. He packs his books into the second box. The paperbacks he'd collected over years. 2 hardcovers his brother gave him. A field guide to birds he's never opened. The rest of the bookshelf, her novels, the kids' textbooks, the cookbook someone gifted them, stays exactly where it is. Another call. Another voicemail. This one is shorter. Pick up the phone. Background noise again. Rolling luggage. Voices layered over voices. I mean it. Pick up. He doesn't. The messages from the kids change tone around 4:30. Less confused, more frightened. His oldest sends a paragraph about how they don't understand what happened, how everything was fine yesterday, how they just want things to go back to normal. His youngest sends nothing, then sends, "Are you okay?" He responds to that one. Just to that one. "I'm fine." The reply is immediate. "Then why aren't you talking to us?" He doesn't answer. In the bedroom, he pulls clothes from the closet. His jeans. His work shirts. The jacket he wears when it's cold. 2 pairs of shoes. He leaves space on his side of the closet, leaves hangers bare. Her side remains untouched, packed tight with fabrics and colors he's never paid attention to. The dresser is easier. His drawer contains socks, underwear, 2 folded sweaters. He empties it into the third box. Her drawers stay closed. Another voicemail. The background noise is different now, muted and closed. A car, maybe. Or a hotel room. Her voice is raw. "I talked to the bank. I know what you did. I know you're doing this to punish me, but you're punishing them too, and they don't deserve this. They didn't do anything. If you're mad at me, then be mad at me, but don't." A pause. Breath catching. "Don't do this." He packs his bathroom items. Toothbrush. Razor. The soap he prefers. He leaves the shampoo, the conditioner, the lotions and creams that clutter the counter. He takes only what's unmistakably his. The text from her start arriving in clusters. 3 at once. Then 5. Then a gap. Then 7 more. He reads each one once, quickly, cataloging tone more than content. Confusion giving way to anger, giving way to something that looks like bargaining. "We can talk about this. Whatever I did, I'm sorry. Please just tell me what you want. I'll fix it. We can fix it, please." He boxes his laptop charger, his headphones, a portable battery pack. He leaves the tablet on the coffee table. It's technically his purchase, his account, but the kids use it more than he does. In the living room, he stands for a long time looking at the furniture. The couch is from her previous apartment. The TV stand is from his. The lamp was a compromise neither of them loved. He takes nothing. Furniture requires explanations he doesn't want to give. The 4th box fills with miscellaneous items that are harder to categorize. A pocket knife his father gave him. A hat he wears to baseball games. Loose change from a bowl on the dresser. A photograph, just one, not of them, but of a lake he visited years ago, before any of this started. The 8th box remains empty. He'd overestimated. By 6 o'clock, his phone shows 43 unread messages and 9 voicemails. He scrolls through the preview text. The tone has shifted again. Anger now, sharp and specific. Accusations about control, about cruelty, about cowardice. He reads enough to understand the arc, then stops reading. He tapes the boxes shut. 7 of them, lined up near the door. He'd labeled them in black marker. Kitchen, books, clothes, bathroom, personal, electronics, miscellaneous. The handwriting is neat. Impersonal. The storage facility is 20 minutes away, a building he's driven past but never noticed. The woman at the desk is eating something from a plastic container. She asks what size unit he needs. He doesn't know. She shows him a chart. He points to the smallest option. Climate controlled, she asks. He says no. She processes the rental. Month to month. First month plus deposit. He pays with the credit card that's now solely his. She hands him a key on a yellow plastic tag and directs him to Building C, 2nd floor, Unit 237. He drives his car around to the loading area. The lot is empty except for one pickup truck with a ladder in the bed. The unit is 5 feet wide, 10 feet deep. Gray walls. Concrete floor. A single fluorescent light that flickers when he pulls the chain. He carries the boxes up one at a time. They stack neatly against the back wall, taking up less space than they seem to in the apartment. When the last box is placed, he stands in the doorway and looks at them. 7 containers holding everything he's claiming as exclusively his from 2 years of shared life. It seems like it should be more. It isn't. He pulls the door down. The metal scrapes against the track, loud in the empty corridor. The lock clicks. He tests it twice. Secured. Outside, the evening has settled into that blue space between day and night. He sits in his car with the engine off. His phone is in his pocket. He can feel it vibrating, steady as a pulse. He doesn't take it out. After a while, he starts the car and drives back to the apartment that's already starting to feel like somewhere he used to live. The locksmith arrives at 8 in the morning. He's early, which is fine. The apartment is already empty of anything that matters. The man is efficient, asks no questions. 20 minutes. 2 new deadbolts. Keys cut on sight. He pays in cash, and the locksmith leaves the old hardware in a grocery bag by the door. He's gone by 9. The diner is 40 minutes away, in a town he's passed through but never stopped in. It sits between a laundromat and a tax preparation office that looks closed permanently. The booths are vinyl, cracked along the seams. He orders coffee and eggs. The waitress doesn't make conversation. He likes that about her. His phone starts at 10:23. A call. He watches it ring. Voicemail. He sets it face down and waits for the notification to clear before checking. Her voice is different than yesterday. Flatter. We're back. The key doesn't work. Call me. He drinks his coffee. It's burnt, but he finishes it anyway. The waitress refills it without asking. The second call comes 8 minutes later. No voicemail this time. Just a missed call notification. Then a text. Why doesn't the key work? He orders toast, even though he isn't hungry. It arrives with butter in small plastic containers. He spreads one, then realizes he doesn't want it. He eats it anyway. Third call, 10:58. Voicemail. I don't know what you're trying to prove, but this isn't. We have luggage. The kids are tired. Just open the door. He asks the waitress for a newspaper. She brings him one from the day before. He reads the local news. A fundraiser for the fire department. A proposed traffic light at an intersection he'll never see. An opinion column about property taxes. Fourth call, 11:14. Voicemail. Background noise is different now. Sharper. Voices overlapping. The landlord won't answer. I know you did something. I know you a break. Someone speaking close to the phone. The kids, maybe. Can't just lock us out. This is illegal. He finishes the toast. Orders more coffee. The waitress brings it without commenting on the fact that he's been sitting in the same booth for over 2 hours. Fifth call, 11:31. Voicemail. I called the police. They're sending someone. You need to fix this right now. He opens his wallet and pulls out a receipt from the locksmith. The date. The time. The service description. Lock replacement. Tenant requested. He photographs it and saves the image. He doesn't send it anywhere. He just wants a record. Sixth call, 12:02. Voicemail. The tone has changed again. Tighter. The officer said there's nothing they can do. He said your name is on the lease. He said a pause. Something that might be crying or might just be a bad connection. Where are we supposed to go? He pays for his meal. Leaves a 20 on the table for a bill that's less than half that. The waitress nods when he stands. He walks to his car in the parking lot and sits behind the wheel without starting the engine. Seventh call, 12:18. This one he answers. Not with words. Just presses the button and puts the phone to his ear. Silence on the other end. Then breathing. Then her voice, quieter than it's been in any of the messages. Why? He doesn't answer. Just tell me why. He ends the call. The messages start after that. Texts flooding in faster than he can read them. He scrolls through, catching fragments. Words about cruelty. About cowardice. About the kids not understanding. About money she doesn't have for a hotel. About calling her mother. About calling his mother. About lawyers. He turns the phone to silent and puts it in the glove compartment. The town has one main street. He drives it slowly, looking at storefronts. A hardware store. A pharmacy. A place that sells antiques or junk. It's hard to tell which. At the end of the street, a sign. Rooms available, weekly/monthly. The building is 3 stories, brick, with a faded awning over the entrance. The office is on the first floor. A man behind a desk looks up when he enters. Older, reading glasses on a chain. He asks what he needs. A room, he says. Month to month. The man pulls out a form. Asks for ID, a deposit, first month's rent. No credit check required for monthly. He fills it in. Pays in cash he'd withdrawn yesterday for reasons he hadn't fully articulated to himself, but understands now. The man hands him a key, a real key, metal, heavy, attached to a diamond-shaped plastic tag with 7B written in marker. Second floor, end of the hall, the man says. Bathroom down the corridor. Quiet hours after 10. No smoking inside. He takes the key and climbs the stairs. The carpet is worn but clean. The hallway smells like old wood and cleaning products. Room 7B is at the far end. He unlocks it. The room is small. A bed, a dresser, a chair by a window that faces the street, a lamp on a side table. The walls are beige. The floor is linoleum made to look like hardwood. It's enough. He sits on the bed. The mattress is firm. He lies back and stares at the ceiling. Water-stained tiles, the kind found in buildings that have been functional but not renovated for decades. He counts the tiles. 12 across, 16 lengthwise. His phone is still in the car. He doesn't retrieve it. The light through the window shifts as the afternoon passes. He watches it track across the wall. At some point, he gets up and tests the lock on the door. It works smoothly. He engages the deadbolt and chain. Both are solid. He opens the single drawer in the dresser. It's empty except for a Bible and a folded piece of paper with Wi-Fi information. He closes it. From the window, he can see most of the main street. A few people walking. A car stopping at the pharmacy, then pulling away. Nothing happens quickly here. He finds that settling. When the light starts to fade, he goes back downstairs to his car. His phone shows 68 notifications. He scrolls past them without reading. Opens his contacts. Finds the landlord's number. Sends a brief text. Former occupants may attempt unauthorized entry. Locks have been changed per lease terms. Please do not provide access. The response comes within a minute. Understood. Thank you for the notice. He gets back in the car and drives to a grocery store 2 blocks away. Buys bread, eggs, instant coffee, a cheap pot to heat water. He carries it back to the room in a plastic bag. The room has an outlet by the dresser. He plugs in the pot and fills it from the bathroom sink. While the water heats, he sits in the chair and looks out the window. The streetlights are coming on. One flickers, goes dark, flickers again, stays lit. He makes coffee in a styrofoam cup he finds in a stack by the pot. It tastes like nothing. He drinks it anyway. His phone vibrates once more. He glances at the screen. A voicemail from a number he doesn't recognize. He doesn't listen to it. Outside, someone walks a dog. The animal stops to sniff a fire hydrant. The person waits, patient, looking at their phone. After a moment, they continue on. The street empties again. He finishes the coffee and sets the cup on the dresser. Lies back on the bed fully clothed. The ceiling tiles are easier to count in the dim light. He reaches 12 before he stops counting. Work starts at 8, but he arrives at 7:15. The parking lot is mostly empty. He likes the quiet of the building before everyone else fills it. He makes coffee in the break room, using the machine that always drips slightly after brewing. He wipes the counter without being asked. His desk is in an open floor plan with 5 other desks. By the time his colleagues arrive, he's already halfway through his morning tasks. They say good morning. He says it back. Someone mentions traffic. He nods. The conversation moves past him and he lets it. The work itself is unchanged. Data entry. Report generation. Emails that require responses formatted in specific ways. He's good at it because it has rules. Input produces output. Errors have identifiable causes. He finds this restful. At lunch, he eats at his desk. A sandwich from the grocery store. An apple. Water from the fountain near the restrooms. His phone sits face down in his drawer. He hasn't checked it since yesterday. The number of notifications stopped climbing somewhere past 200. He knows because he looked once, saw the number, and stopped looking. A colleague, Marcus, maybe, or Martin, stops by his desk around 2. Asks if he wants to join the group for Happy Hour Friday. He says he can't. No explanation. Marcus or Martin nods and moves on. No one presses. The afternoon passes in the same measured rhythm as the morning. Keystrokes. Mouse clicks. A phone call that requires him to verify account numbers. He does this without error. The person on the other end thanks him. He says they're welcome. At 5, people begin packing up. He stays until 5:30, finishing a report that isn't due until Monday. When he finally leaves, the parking lot has emptied again. The symmetry pleases him in a way he doesn't examine. The drive back to the room takes 12 minutes. He's timed it. He parks in the same spot each day, third row from the building, away from the streetlight. The walk to the entrance is 43 steps. He's counted. The room is exactly as he left it. Bed made, cup rinsed and drying on the dresser. The window closed. He opens it now because the air has been still all day. A breeze comes through, smelling like asphalt and something green he can't identify. He heats water in the pot, makes coffee, drinks it while standing at the window, watching the street below. A woman in scrubs walks past. A teenager on a skateboard rolls by, jumps a curb, keeps going. A car idles at the corner, then turns. When the coffee is gone, he washes the cup in the bathroom sink. The faucet drips after he turns it off. 3 drops. 4. He watches them fall. Tomorrow, he thinks. He'll fix it tomorrow. There's no television in the room. No radio. His laptop is in storage. His phone is still in his pocket, still face down, still unchecked. The silence is total except for the faint sound of traffic from the main street and occasional footsteps in the hallway. He lies on the bed and stares at the ceiling. Counts tiles again, even though he already knows the number. 12 by 16. 192. At some point, he gets up and examines the door. The hinge at the top is loose. The screw has stripped its hole slightly. He tests the door's swing. It catches, releases, catches. He makes a mental note. Screws, wood filler. Hardware store. Saturday. The evening empties itself of urgency. He doesn't feel restless. He doesn't feel calm either. He feels present in a way that requires nothing from him except continuation. At 8, he makes another cup of coffee even though he doesn't want it. He drinks half, pours the rest down the bathroom sink. For drops fall after he turns the faucet off. He'll need a washer. He adds it to the mental list. He sits in the chair by the window. The streetlights have all come on now except the one that flickers. It goes through its cycle, bright, dim, dark, bright again. He times it. 17 seconds between cycles. Consistent. His phone is on the dresser. He picks it up, unlocks it. The notifications have stopped multiplying. The last message came 6 hours ago. He scrolls past them without reading. Opens a new text. The cursor blinks in the empty field. He types something, deletes it, types again. This version is longer. 2 sentences. He reads them 3 times. Changes one word. Reads it again. The message sits there, complete, addressed, but unsent. He locks the phone without deleting it, without sending it. Sets it back on the dresser. The screen goes dark. Outside, someone is moving furniture. He can hear, scraping above him, a voice saying, "Careful." Another voice saying, "I got it." The scraping stops, then starts again, then stops for good. He brushes his teeth, changes into the clothes he sleeps in, a t-shirt, sweatpants he bought at the grocery store for $11. He sets his alarm for 6:30, even though he wakes before it every day. The bed is firmer than he's used to. He lies on his back, then his side, then his back again. Sleep doesn't come quickly, but it comes. The last thing he's aware of is the flickering streetlight casting uneven shadows across the ceiling. 17 seconds. Bright, dim, dark, bright. The lawyer's office is in a building downtown that shares space with an insurance agency and a therapist whose name he recognizes from a billboard. 3rd floor, Suite 304. The waiting room has 3 chairs and a table with magazines no one has straightened in weeks. The receptionist asks him to fill out an intake form. He completes it in 4 minutes. Name, contact information, brief description of services needed. He writes, dissolution of marriage. No contest. The lawyer sees him 12 minutes later. Younger than expected. Professional, but not formal. She shakes his hand and gestures to a chair across from her desk. The desk is organized in a way that suggests systems rather than urgency. She asks him to describe the situation. He does. Facts only. Timeline. Circumstances. Current living arrangement. She takes notes on a yellow legal pad, writing in quick shorthand. When he finishes, she asks follow-up questions. Length of marriage. Children. Property. Debt. Retirement accounts. He answers each one with the same precision he brings to work. The shared apartment, his lease. The vehicles, one his, one jointly titled, but he's relinquishing claim. Bank accounts. Joint checking, his income only for the past year. Retirement, his account, accumulated during marriage. Debt, credit card in his name, he's assumed responsibility. She writes steadily, asks about custody arrangements. He says he expects she'll have primary physical custody. She asks if he's requesting visitation. He pauses on this one, says he's open to whatever is reasonable, but won't contest her proposed schedule. The lawyer sets her pen down, looks at him directly, asks if he's sure about relinquishing the vehicle title and not pursuing split custody. He says yes. She makes a note, circles it. She explains the process. Petition, service, response period, financial disclosures, settlement agreement. Uncontested divorces in this state typically take 4 to 6 months if all parties cooperate. Faster if they file jointly, but that requires both parties to sign. She asks if he thinks his wife would be willing to file jointly. He says he doesn't know. She asks if they've communicated about the divorce directly. He says no. She asks if there's been any communication at all. He says not for several days. She makes another note. Doesn't circle this one. The fee structure is straightforward. Flat rate for uncontested filings. Additional hourly charges if complications arise. He asks what constitutes a complication. She lists them: contested custody, disputed assets, requests for spousal support, failure to respond to filings. He says he doesn't anticipate any of those. She says people rarely do. He pays the retainer with a check from the account that's now only his. She provides a receipt and a folder with document templates. Explains what information he'll need to gather: tax returns, bank statements, property deeds, insurance policies. He says he has most of it already compiled. She seems unsurprised by this. They schedule a follow-up for next week. She'll have the petition drafted by then. He'll review it, sign it, and she'll file. His wife will be served within 5 days of filing. She asks for a good address for service. He provides the apartment address. It's the only address he has. The meeting ends at 9:42. Total time, 37 minutes. He takes the folder and walks back to his car. The morning is overcast, but not raining. People move past him on the sidewalk with purpose he doesn't share. At work, he responds to emails, processes reports, eats lunch at his desk without tasting it. Around 2, a colleague asks if he's feeling okay. He says he's fine. They don't ask again. The documents arrive via email on Thursday. 3 PDFs attached. Petition for dissolution. Parenting plan proposal. Financial declaration. He opens each one and reads carefully. The language is formal, detached. His marriage described in numbered paragraphs. Dates. Facts. Proposed divisions. He finds one error, a transposed digit in an account number. He corrects it in a reply email. The lawyer responds within an hour with an updated version. He reviews it again. Everything is accurate now. He signs digitally, returns the documents. The lawyer confirms receipt and says she'll file Monday morning. Friday passes like the days before it. Work, drive, room, window. He fixes the dripping faucet with a washer from the hardware store. $2.37. The dripping stops. He tests it 3 times to be sure. That evening, he retrieves his phone from the dresser. The unsent message is still there, waiting in draft form. He reads it once. The words haven't changed, but they feel different now. Less necessary. He reads them again to be certain. Then he deletes them, character by character, working backward until the field is empty. He closes the app, sets the phone back on the dresser. Outside, the flickering street light goes through its pattern. Bright, dim, dark, bright. He stopped timing it. He just watches now. The court date arrives in an email on Monday. He's at work when it comes through. Opens it between tasks. A calendar notification with date, time, location. For months and 3 days from now. Longer than the lawyer estimated, but not unreasonably so. He adds it to his phone calendar. No reminder. He won't forget. The rest of Monday is identical to every Monday before it. Tasks completed. Systems maintained. Evening spent in a room where everything has its place because he's put it there. He sleeps well. No dreams he remembers. September arrives without announcement. The mornings are cooler. He notices because he starts wearing a jacket on the walk from his car to the building. The jacket is the same one from the apartment. Dark blue. Functional. The messages have slowed. In the first week after the locks changed, they came constantly. Now they arrive every few days. Sometimes a week passes between them. He's kept the phone active, kept the number, but moved it to a drawer. He checks it once each evening before bed. The messages follow a pattern. The early ones were short, frantic. Then they grew longer, explanatory. Now there's somewhere in between, paragraphs that start with recrimination and end with questions he doesn't answer. He reads the first sentence of each, sometimes the second, rarely more than that. The content has become predictable. References to the kids, references to money, references to what he owes, what he's done, what he's refusing to understand. On a Tuesday, he drives to the phone store, the one by the highway, set back from the road in a strip mall. A young man in a polo shirt greets him, asks what he needs. A new number, he says. New line. Keep the old one active. The young man taps on a tablet, asks if he wants to port the old number or start fresh. He says start fresh. The young man nods, explains the charges, minimal for an additional line, especially since it's the same account. He can keep the old phone active, just won't need to carry it. The process takes 15 minutes. He walks out with a new number, a new SIM card installed in his current phone. The old number stays active on a phone that's now in the glove compartment of his car, still powered on, still receiving messages he'll never read in real time. He updates 3 contacts with the new number. His employer's HR department, the lawyer, the landlord of the building where he rents the room. No one else needs it. October is dry. The trees around the town turn colors he associates with other places, other years. He drives past them on the way to work, notices them the same way he notices traffic lights, present, functional, requiring no response. The parenting plan gets finalized without his input. The lawyer calls to confirm he received the proposed schedule. He says he did. She asks if he has any objections. He says no. She says his ex-wife is requesting child support calculations based on state guidelines. He asks what that means in dollars. She tells him. He says that's acceptable. She sounds surprised. Asks if he wants to negotiate. He says no. She makes a note he can hear through the phone. Says most people try to negotiate. He says he's not most people. She doesn't argue. The paperwork processes. Signatures exchanged through the lawyer. He never speaks to his ex-wife directly. Everything moves through formal channels. It's slower than conversation, but cleaner. He prefers it. On a Saturday in late October, he wakes earlier than usual. 6 a.m. The room is cold. He dresses and makes instant coffee and drinks it while the street outside remains empty. When he finishes, he gets in his car without a destination. He drives for an hour, away from town, past the highway exits he recognizes, into areas where the buildings space themselves farther apart and the land flattens into something agricultural. A sign points to a state recreation area. He follows it. The lake sits at the end of a two-lane road, a parking lot with gravel spaces, a boat launch that's empty this time of year, a path that leads to a beach area where the sand has been trucked in and borders marked with railroad ties. He parks and walks to a bench facing the water. The lake is gray under an overcast sky. Small waves ripple and flatten. He sits and watches them. Behind him, a family arrives. He hears car doors, voices, a child asking about ducks, a parent saying something about the weather. They set up near the shore, a blanket, a cooler, a bag of what sounds like toys from the clatter. He doesn't turn around. The child's voice rises and falls with the kind of urgency that means nothing serious. The parents respond with patience that sounds practiced. After a while, they eat something. He hears rappers. The child asks for more. Someone says no. The child accepts this. They stay for an hour, maybe longer. He doesn't check the time. When they pack up, he listens to the sound of their departure without watching it. Car doors again. Engine starting. Gravel under tires. Then silence except for the water and wind. He sits until his legs stiffen, stands, walks back to his car. The drive back is the same road in reverse. He stops once, at a gas station, for coffee that's somehow worse than the instant kind. He drinks it anyway. That evening, he opens the old phone from the glove compartment. 23 new messages. He doesn't read them. He goes to photos instead. There are hundreds. Years of accumulated images. Birthday parties. Dinners. Trips. Faces he recognizes, but that feel distant now, like people he knew in a different life. He scrolls back. Past months. Past years. To the beginning of the camera roll. There's a screenshot near the end. The message that arrived while the kettle was warming. No greeting. No preamble. Just the rearrangement. He saves it to cloud storage. Then he deletes everything else. The app asks if he's sure. Hundreds of photos. This can't be undone. He confirms. The screen shows a progress bar. It fills slowly. When it finishes, the photo library contains one image. He looks at it once more. Reads the words he's read 100 times. They mean the same thing they meant the first time. Nothing has changed except what happened after. He closes the app, powers off the old phone, returns it to the glove compartment. November starts on a Thursday. The lawyer emails. The court date has been moved up. New date, 6 weeks away. She asks if this creates any conflicts. He replies, no conflicts. The messages on the old phone continue. He knows because he checks the notification count once a week. He doesn't open them, just notes the number. It climbs slowly. 30, 40, 50. The child support transfers begin. Automatic withdrawal from his account. The 1st and 15th of each month. The amount is exactly what the lawyer said it would be. He adjusts his budget accordingly. It's tighter now, but manageable. He eats more simply, drives less. The changes are minor. Work continues. Colleagues come and go. Someone retires. Someone new starts. He learns the new person's name, but not much else. They work on different teams. Paths rarely cross. The room stays the same. He's made small improvements. Fixed the door hinge. Replaced a light bulb that was dimming. Bought a better pillow because the original one was too flat. These changes make no visible difference to anyone but him. The flickering streetlight outside gets fixed in early November. A truck arrives one afternoon. A man in a bucket lift. 20 minutes of work. When he finishes, the light stays steady. Bright. No variation. No cycle. He finds he misses the flickering. The tire goes flat on a Wednesday. He notices it in the morning when he walks to his car. The rear passenger side sagging. The rim almost touching pavement. He crouches and finds a nail embedded near the tread. He's never changed a tire alone. He's watched it done. Helped once. But the memory is vague and belongs to a time when there was always someone to call. He opens the trunk. Finds the spare, the jack, the lug wrench wrapped in plastic he has to tear with his teeth. The instructions are printed on a sticker inside the trunk lid. He reads them twice. The jack goes under the frame. He positions it where the diagram indicates. Pumps the handle. The car rises slowly, unevenly. He stops when the tire clears the ground by an inch. Tries to remove the first lug nut. It doesn't move. He stands on the wrench. Bounces slightly. The nut breaks free. The other 4 come easier. He removes the flat tire and sets it aside. Lifts the spare into place. It's heavier than expected and doesn't align on the first try. On the second try, it slides on. He threads the nuts by hand, then tightens them with the wrench. The jack releases in increments. The car settles. He tightens the nuts once more, working in the star pattern the instructions specify. When he finishes, his hands are black with road grime and rust. He drives to work with the spare. The car pulls slightly to the right. He adjusts his steering to compensate. At lunch, he looks up tire shops. Finds one 6 blocks from the building. Calls. They can patch the flat by end of day. He drops it off during his break. The bill is $32. He pays with cash and drives back to the room with the repaired tire in his trunk. He'll swap it with the spare this weekend. The knowledge that he can do this, that he now knows how, settles somewhere in his chest without weight. The late fee arrives via email. A utility bill he forgot to pay. Not the electricity, that's on autopay. This is something else. Internet service he'd added to the room 3 weeks ago when he decided he wanted it. The first bill came, but he'd set it aside, and then it slipped past the due date. $15 late fee on a $40 bill. He pays it immediately, opens his calendar, and sets a recurring reminder for the 25th of each month. He won't pay it late again. At the grocery store, he buys the same things each week. Bread, eggs, coffee, apples, pasta, sauce in jars, chicken breast in packages of 2. The cashier recognizes him now. Doesn't speak, just scans his items and tells him the total. Sometimes she asks if he found everything okay. He says yes. Sometimes she doesn't ask. He prefers when she doesn't. His meals are predictable. Eggs for breakfast, sandwich for lunch, pasta or chicken for dinner. He eats at the small counter in his room, standing or sitting on the edge of the bed. There's no table. He doesn't need one. He's lost weight. Not intentionally, just from eating only when hungry and stopping when full. His jeans fit differently. He notices when he cinches his belt one hole tighter. Someone at work asks where he's from. It's the new person, the one who started in October. They're making conversation during a brief overlap in the break room. He says the name of a city 2 hours north. The person asks if he grew up there. He says yes. The person asks what brought him here. He says work. The person waits for more. He doesn't provide it. After a moment, the person nods and changes the subject to something about the coffee machine. The conversation ends naturally. Unremarkably, the person doesn't ask again. His sleep has improved. He falls asleep quickly now, wakes once during the night, but goes back to sleep without effort. The alarm at 6:30 feels almost unnecessary. He's usually awake by 6:15. He started walking in the evenings. Nothing structured. Just 20 minutes after dinner, looping through streets he's learning. The town has 4 parks. He's walked through 3 of them. The 4th is too far to reach on foot in 20 minutes, so he's seen it only from his car. The walks require nothing from him. He passes houses with lights and windows. Dogs behind fences. People getting mail from boxes mounted on posts. No one acknowledges him. He acknowledges no one. It's an agreement no one has discussed, but everyone maintains. The lawyer calls on a Monday in late November. Her voice is neutral, professional. The decree is finalized. Judge signed this morning. She's having copies sent to both parties. His will arrive via certified mail within 3 business days. He asks if there's anything else required. She says no. Everything is complete. Child support will continue as agreed. Custody schedule is in effect as of the 1st of next month. If issues arise, contact her. Otherwise, the case is closed. He thanks her. She says she's glad it proceeded smoothly. Says most don't. He doesn't respond to that. She says if he needs anything in the future, she's available. He says he'll keep that in mind. The call ends. The envelope arrives on Wednesday. Brown. Rigid. His name typed on a white label. He signs for it at the office downstairs. The manager hands it to him with a pen that's chained to the desk. He carries it upstairs. Sets it on the dresser. He doesn't open it immediately. Makes coffee first. Drinks it while standing at the window. The street is quiet. A Tuesday afternoon. Most people are at work. When he finishes the coffee, he rinses the cup and opens the envelope. Inside are papers clipped together. The decree. 3 pages. Official stamps. Signatures. His. Hers. The judge's. He reads through it once. Then again. The language is the same as the drafts he reviewed. Nothing has changed. Everything is final. He returns the papers to the envelope and slides it into the drawer where he keeps documents. Tax forms. Lease agreement. Receipts for the room. Now this. Outside, someone is moving furniture again. Different apartment this time. Sounds like it's next door. A voice says watch the corner. Another voice says got it. Scraping. Then silence. He closes the drawer. The movement produces a small sound, wood on wood. The drawer fits him perfectly, catches slightly before settling closed. He doesn't fix it. He wakes at 6:12, 3 minutes before the alarm. He turns it off before it sounds and lies still for a moment, listening to the building. Someone runs water in a room nearby. Pipes tick. A door closes somewhere down the hall. He gets up. The floor is cold. At 7:40, he stands. Puts on his jacket. Checks that he has his key. Leaves the room and locks the door. Tests the handle. Locked. He tests it again. Still locked. He walks down the stairs and out to the street. Right instead of left this time. Away from his usual route. 3 blocks down, there's a cross street he's never taken. He turns onto it. The houses here are smaller. Older. One has a chain-link fence. Another has a porch swing that moves slightly in the breeze. For more blocks. The street ends at a park he's only seen from his car. A playground to the left. Empty. Swings moving on their own. To the right, a path that curves into trees. He takes the path. The gravel crunches under his boots. The trees on either side are bare, branches making patterns against the darkening sky. He can hear traffic in the distance, but it's muted here. The path leads to a clearing with a pavilion. Picnic tables underneath. All empty. Beyond it, the path continues into more trees. He stops at the pavilion. Puts his hand on one of the support posts. The wood is rough, cold. Painted green at some point, but mostly weathered back to gray. He stands there for a moment. Not thinking. Not deciding. Just standing. Then he takes his hand off the post and continues down the path.